Hey guys, welcome back to another season of Viridian Flashback. And let me tell you, this one is a special one because all of the games picked were chosen by you, the viewers. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Our first episode comes to us from two longtime viewers, Steffan and Jay Dubious of Dubious Gaming Online, and they've chosen Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
If you grew up in the late 90s to the mid-2000s, you either watched or have at least heard of this TV phenomenon. Originally started as an early 90s comedy starring Christy Swanson as the titular Slayer, it wasn't a box office hit to begin with, although down the road it did become a cult classic. Years later, creator Joss Whedon retooled his creation into a TV series that lasted from 1997 to 2003 starring Sarah Michelle Gellar, taking place after the movie. The combination of horror, drama, and comedy proved to be a massive success with audiences, and a whole slew of Buffy merch came from it. Of course, video games being part of that, with 6 games released throughout the series' run, mostly on handheld devices though.
But today we'll be looking at both of her console adventures, Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Buffy the Vampire Slayer Chaos Bleeds, to see if they're both collection worthy. Oh, and on a side note, I kinda always thought Willow was hotter than Buffy. Just saying.
In a time when the world was young and demons ran unfettered across the face of the earth, the powers that be chose a young woman, one girl in all the world, to combat the forces of darkness.
The story for Buffy the Vampire Slayer takes place during Season 3, where we see our favorite Slayer partaking in some late-night training with her watcher Giles, when she runs into the Master, the main villain she vanquished in Season 1, alive and well. As he goes to drain her of blood, she wakes up, it being only a nightmare. Unfortunately, her nightmare is just beginning, as it turns out the spirit of the Master has returned, ordering his followers to search for him a new body. So of course, it's up to Buffy and the Scooby Gang to save the citizens of Sunnyvale.
Cordy, get everyone else into the supply closet and keep them quiet until I come for you. I'll go track down the janitor and see if Creepy Pete can get the lights turned back on.
The great thing about the story is that even though it's non-canon, it feels like a lost episode from the show, complete with that lovable wit that it's known for. And when it comes to licensed games, that's definitely a good thing.
Oh, go kiss daylight. I feel like a new Slayer.
Buffy is a third-person action-adventure game where you guide Miss Summers through 13 levels throughout Sunnyvale, solving puzzles, doing a bit of platforming, and partake in combating the undead. Speaking of combat, kicking vampire ass is not only fun, but simple with smooth, responsive controls. In fact, it was the engine from Buffy used in Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. You can perform punch and kick combos to knock down your opponents, but since these are vampires you're dealing with, you gotta stake them. Otherwise, they just get up and continue to annoy you. But you have more than just pointy wood at your disposal. You also get a crossbow, magic potions, a water gun that shoots holy water and hellfire, improv weapons, and Slayer power, which essentially boosts your attacks. To obtain these goodies, in between levels you'll visit the school library where you can talk to Giles and the Scoobies to gain new items as well as learn story info, new moves, and health upgrades. Not only is this a cool way to earn new stuff, it gives you that feeling of being part of the gang.
Pretty, but they also come in handy, strong with the mojo. Any good witch or bad demon knows that certain crystals have healing or energy-enhancing powers. If you find anything, bring it back to me. I've been experimenting with some spells using...
If you were to try and gauge the game's difficulty, it'd be a decent challenge, but not so much for the enemies, but more the fact that the Slayer herself gets hurt more by falling, lava, and drowning.
Apparently, Slayers can't swim. Who knew?
Which is odd, considering by a lot of the stuff she'd go through in a single episode. Feels like kind of a cop-out to me, but at least the checkpoints are plentiful.
The gameplay is fun and intriguing, even with the fact that Buffy's allergic to water. Nevertheless, the combat and arsenal of Slayer goodness more than make up for that.
For graphics, Buffy looks pretty good for an early Xbox title, with character models looking quite close to the actors from the show, like Xander, Willow, Cordelia, Giles, Spike, and Buffy, while the enemies and assorted creatures do a pretty good job. As far as levels and environments go, the collective did a great job of capturing the look of Sunnyvale with places like the high school, the Bronze, and more. Hell, they even have a modified version of the show's intro. In the audio department, the music is not bad, with a mix of rocking tunes when the action takes place to quiet, haunting melodies when you're exploring your surroundings. With voiceover, it's stellar, as the majority of the show's cast voice their characters for the game, except for Sarah Michelle Gellar. However, the actress they did get to voice Buffy does a great job nailing down her likeness, and you'll know it because she'll repeat her lines. Quite a bit.
Beyond this door, you will face your final challenge. Have a care, though. The entrance is protected by a mystical ward that will bar you from passing through unless you have the 3 keys. These are not traditional keys, but engraved stone. I've already found one. Now you must find and retrieve the others, which are hidden here in the church.
An Easter egg hunt. Oh, joy. Will you be wearing a bunny suit?
Buffy, please try to focus. The levity is appreciated, but this is a crucial part of this exercise. I'll aid you if I can. I shall begin searching at the back of the church.
Trust me. I'm focused. Making with the funny is just a way to shake off the Wiggins this place has given me. There's something really peculiar around here that's spooking me.
Actually, I think it's quite charming. Nothing to worry about, I'm sure.
So that's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Not a bad action game. It's fun and can be enjoyed whether you're a fan of the show or not. Hell, it might actually want to make you check out the show. Actually, you should just go ahead and do that anyway. Regardless, it's about $5 to $10 online, so it's pretty cheap to find. But this episode's not over yet, because 1 year later we got the sort of sequel, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Chaos Bleeds.
In Chaos Bleeds, which takes place during Season 5 but is also non-canon, it's discovered that past villain Ethan Rayne is having some trouble when the First, essentially the beginning of evil, wants to destroy humanity. They decide to have a contest, with each choosing 5 champions to pit against each other. So Ethan picks Buffy, Faith, Willow, Spike, and Xander.
Xander? What, was Oz busy or something?
I'd originally planned to use the werewolf as number 5, but he's skipped town apparently, so young Mr. Harris will have to do.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So now Buffy and company must play this deadly game across alternate realities to defeat the First.
Girls gotta have some diversion once in a while.
Okay, so I get what happens if you win. What if you lose?
If I lose, I'll suffer eternal torment as the whipping boy of the lowest toadies in the First's dark dimension.
Oh, and we wouldn't want that to happen.
If I get to stomp the granddaddy of all evils, that's gotta be major karma points, right?
You can forget it. Boggles my mind that you'd even think any of us would help you.
The story is a bit more expanded than the first game, even if it kind of sounds like the plot to Mortal Kombat, but it's still good.
As far as gameplay goes, developer Eurocom decided that if it ain't broke, don't fix it, as the game pretty much plays the same as its predecessor. Platforming, puzzles, and combat all make a return, complete with the same control scheme. But now you've got 6 characters to play as now, with the previously mentioned 5, and Sid the dummy for a few levels. Each character may control the same, but a few of them do play differently. Buffy, Xander, Spike, and Faith play the same, using hand-to-hand combat and various weapons. The majority of them are from the first game. Of course, Buffy and Faith are Slayers, so they get Slayer powers. Spike's a vampire, and Xander's there. Willow, being a witch, fights the undead forces using a book of spells, casting magic by inputting button combos. Not gonna lie, playing as Willow, not that great. Every time you try to use a certain spell, you have a 50-50 chance of it working. Plus, more than likely, you'll get hit by enemies as you try to cast them. It's just a clunky combat system overall. And then there's Sid the Dummy. Being short, he can't do much damage to anything until he gets a weapon, and he's really just there to get through places that Buffy can't. But don't worry, you don't play as him for long. Thankfully, if you die a bunch playing as them, the checkpoint system is very gracious. Sadly, there is a lot of backtracking in some levels that end up getting tedious and downright frustrating. Something I didn't mention when I was talking about the first game was multiplayer, mostly due to the fact that it had to be inputted with a code and it wasn't really an actual feature but more of a debug thing. However, in Chaos Bleeds, there is genuine multiplayer with your standard deathmatch, capture the flag, and enemy wave modes. However, it's just and something you really won't be playing for very long.
Alas, poor Yorick. Max damage!
The graphics for Chaos Bleeds are a little better than the first, but not by much, with the characters still looking faithful to their real-life counterparts and the stages still being faithful to the look of Sunnyvale. I do, however, love the movie posters in the abandoned theater. Nice touch, Fox.
Xander would be in heaven.
With audio, the music's alright. Not thrilling, but nice. Fitting the tone when it needs to. In the voiceover section, we once again have the majority of the cast return to voice their characters, except now, instead of Miss Geller not reprising her role again, Allison Hannigan doesn't return to voice Willow. The actress that voiced Buffy returns is as good as ever, however, the actress voicing Willow this time is really bad.
Buffy, where's Tara? She was helping Anya with the inventory. This place was already pretty vamp-infested when we got here.
We have to find them fast. Xander, you take the training room. Spike, head down to the basement. Willow and I'll keep them busy in here.
We will? You're the Slayer, but hello, just Willow here.
Will, you're a witch. Totally witchy. And we're in a magic shop. Find something useful.
Oh, good idea. Something with a lot of bang for my buck. Now that you mention it, Giles just got a first edition of Krause's Compendium of Magical Combat. If I can find it, maybe I can...
Everyone, get going.
Chaos Bleeds is a slightly bigger and more better game than its predecessor, but in reality it's just not as good as the original. Don't get me wrong though, I enjoyed Chaos Bleeds, and it is a fun game. It's just a so-so follow-up. Thankfully though, like the first Buffy game, this one's cheap and affordable to find online as well. But if you can only choose one, I'd say go with the first one. It's a much better experience. And with that, this is the Dolly Popka saying if you want to play retro, try going green. I'll see you next time.